So one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with was sacrifice. Be dealing with the sacrifice, sacrificing something to get something else. Because sacrificing something is, especially if you've been doing it your whole life, or if you've been doing like some habit that you've been doing for so long, or something that you enjoy, and a place you live and you love, or friends you hang out with, but sacrificing it for something better, it's really freaking hard. And this is Dan with Live Life in Your Flame, and basically I created this because I think that you need to sacrifice. Part of it is sacrifice. Discipline and sacrifice go hand in hand. And sacrificing things that like don't serve you anymore, but they just keep you comfortable, and then sacrificing things that you do love for something that you know is better long term, because we only have a certain amount of days on this planet and we're not going to live forever. And if you don't start sacrificing shit that you doesn't serve you, you're gonna end up regretting it. And you're gonna be living in life, and living like 7 years old regretting things. It must be sad. That's why you see people that are just like old men or women, men, like Karens, and you see these old people and you're like, what made them so angry? Well, they're angry because they didn't do what they wanted to do, and now they have to spend the rest of their life looking back at all the stuff that they could have done, and they never now they know they don't know if they could have did it or not. They never tried it. At least if they tried it, they would know, like, hey, I tried and it didn't work, but I lived my life the way I wanted to. But they didn't. And then they lived the life that everyone told them to live, and they maybe they wanted to be a singer, and they stopped because people told them. And then they're 70 and all those people are dead, and they're like, I didn't try it. And they're angry. They're just pissed off because, and then they take it out on other people. But the people that are really happy when they're older, and, I look at my mom, and she's very happy, and she did what she wanted to do. She loved teaching. She became a principal. She got her doctorate in education, and then she became a director of education at the county. Like, she was overseeing, like, it would be basically like almost a CEO of thousands of teachers and hundreds of teachers and thousands of students. So she did what she wanted to do, and she wanted a family. She raised 3 kids, like, so. And that's why I see she's happy, because she looks back and she doesn't have any regret. When you look back and you have a lot of regret, then it's hard, man. It's hard to be really happy. And I think that's why you see a lot of these angry old people. And so in sacrificing, we have to sacrifice stuff, and a lot of these people didn't want to sacrifice it. They didn't want to sacrifice those friends that were telling them, hey, don't do this. Well, if you want to do something, let's say you want to be a singer, and all your friends keep telling you, like, no, don't, it's not going to work, or come on, let's party with us. And you really like these people. You want to hang out with them. They're fun to hang out with. They're your friends. You think they're your friends. Trust me. People that don't push you to be better, or try to hold you back, or aren't happy for whatever you're doing, those are not your friends. And really quickly you'll find out, because if you start doing what you want to do, they will try harder and harder to make you to get you to quit. And so you have to sacrifice those people, and it's, I mean, I had a group of friends when I lived in San Diego, and it was like one point I was like, man, I'm living the dream. I have like a group of friends. I've never had like a big group of friends. I could always call and go on a run. I could take my dog to the beach, to the park, with, like, go to the gym. We'd go to the gym, and I'd be like me and 4 other guys. Like, it was just like shooting the shit. We go out drinking and stuff. It was one of the funnest times of my life. But I got to the point where I was like, man, this is not, I want to do something else. And then when I started trying to do something else, it was like they just really tried to make sure I stopped, because they want to do something, but they didn't have they were too weak to, I'm sorry, but they just didn't have the strength to pursue it, and someone told them not to, that they can't do it, so they were trying to hold me back. And plus, then it was one less person to party with. And for me, I was the life of the party, so for them, they were like, what are we going to do when he's gone? And when I left, it was like, then everything else, like, dissipated, because I kind of held everyone together. And that's what leaders do. And I'm not trying to be cocky, but it's like, I mean, sorry, but sometimes you have to just sacrifice things, and people are going to get hurt. And maybe people are going to say, man, you're my best friend and now you're leaving. And it's like, well, sorry, life's too freaking short, man. They're not going to go along with you and they're not going to be positive. You got to let those people behind. And they can be sad all they want. And you have to live you. You have to live the way you want. Live your life in your flame. That's what it is. Life's too short. Say F off, like I'm doing me. And sorry, you got to be somewhat selfish in your life, this life. But that also means sacrificing a lot of stuff that may not be friends, maybe bad habits. Bad habits are really hard to sacrifice, and things like for me, I'm in Austin right now, and there's so many beautiful girls here, and I'm just being honest, and it's like I see them when I go on a run, and I'm thinking I've never been in a place where I've seen so many pretty girls, and I have bad girls that I've met, and they like wanted to hang out, and it's like I'm leaving, and I'm going to Eugene, Oregon, like a place that's just like it's not like it's not Austin, and but the thing is that I knew I have to sacrifice this place, being here and being around beautiful women, because I know that I need to focus on me. I need to focus on getting better. And I want to live my life in my flame. I want to live my life and live out my dreams. So I got to sacrifice this. And this is hard because it's like, man, I was thinking the other day, I was like, I'm going to be in a place that's like raining and it's like, I love the sun. And it's just like, well, what do you want more? Do you want to just keep living here or do you want to sacrifice this for being able to focus on something that's more important? And I realized I was like, I have to sacrifice it, and I'm sacrificing it. And the thing is, if you sacrifice things now, you'll get it tenfold. Things will come back tenfold later. Like if I really wanted to meet a beautiful girl and eventually get married, well, maybe in a few years I would have meet the girl of my dreams, and I would have more success finding a girl like that in 10 years when I'm successful, or 5 years, whatever, than compared to being here and just not living out my dreams and just being distracted, because it's just distracting for me. And so what's distracting for you, you have to cut things out. And then partly is like another thing is just like Netflix and stuff like that. I have to sacrifice that. Sometimes I go on a run, I work out, and it's like 4 hours of doing physical stuff. Sometimes I just want to sit down and just watch Netflix because my body's tired. But then I'm like, man, I got to sacrifice that. I got to cut out TV because I should be writing. I should be working on YouTube videos, shit like that. And then sacrificing things like I have a thing for ice cream, even though like I have a six pack, I work out so much that it's like ice cream doesn't do anything, but it's like I still have to sacrifice that because it's still bad for me. And I love it because I think my body craves it after working out so hard and it's so hot. And then sacrificing just like anything that just does not serve you anymore. So you have to look at your life and be like, does this serve me? Does this make me better at whatever I'm trying to do? And if it's not, then you got to cut it. And if it is serving you, then you keep it. And I think that's just the easiest way to look at what do I sacrifice. And sometimes sacrificing the place you live, sacrificing the life you're living, and sacrificing just your whole routine. And maybe like I love running my dog on this trail and just meeting girls and but I can't do that anymore because those things just don't serve me. So I have to be like going to motivation seminars. I got to go to Toastmasters. I got to go do things that are going to serve me more. And those things are going to be hard to do, but you only have so much time. So when we sacrifice stuff, it gives us time, frees up time for us to do that things that serve us more, right? It's like going to Toastmasters. And I could be checking out girls, or I could go to Toastmasters. I could be watching Netflix, or I can go to Toastmasters or something else, do YouTube videos. So you see, like, we only have so much freaking time in the day and so much time in the world. So you could sit there and watch Netflix for 3 years, or you can see the success of whatever you're trying to do And if whatever, for me, it would be creating YouTube videos. If I did, for all the time I watch Netflix, if I was working on learning how to create YouTube videos, I would be way more far further ahead. So you see how all these things that don't serve us, they just keep holding us back, and maybe one day and 2 days, like, you don't see it, but over time it just accumulates, and then it's like 3 years go by, and you're like, damn, imagine if I spent all my time doing, like, going to Toastmasters. I would be such a better speaker. If I did this 5 years ago, I would be such a better speaker. But if I didn't cut out Netflix, I didn't cut out things that didn't serve me anymore. And it's never too late, so you can't look back and be like, I regret it and all this. And I think myself is like, I would always look back and be like, well, I should have sacrificed all those things earlier and I didn't, so it's too late, and I might as well just keep watching Netflix. And we see this in addiction. It's when people relapse, they're like, well, I was 5 years, 10 years sober, and I relapsed today, so I might as well just keep drinking. And it's like, the brain is just, it's so easy for us. It wants comfort so much. And a lot of the times, the things we have to sacrifice are comforting. When you sacrifice comforting things, it it is difficult, man. It's very difficult, especially laying on a nice couch, just sleeping in. You have to sacrifice those things. But the thing is when you start living your life the way you want to live, like living your life in your flame, in your heart, in your soul, and you start feeling like you're getting better, you start doing what you're doing, and you know you're getting better, and other people may not, but you know if you're getting better, and so you don't listen to anyone else. You listen to yourself, and when you start listening to yourself and you start becoming proud of yourself, then you start sacrificing more things, and then you don't let things that don't serve you anymore come into your life. You meet someone, and all they talk about is things like football and things that don't serve you anymore. You're like, I don't have time for you. Sorry. And they're like wanting to hang out. I meet people like that, and they're like, oh, let's drink beer and watch football. I'm like, that doesn't serve me. Sorry. And, that's sorry that happened, but I don't want to hang out with people that aren't helping me grow. And life's too short to not be freaking living the way you want to live it. So, sacrificing is a selfish thing for you. You have to be selfish to sacrifice, but you're doing it for you. And then you start loving yourself, because you're like, man, look at what I sacrificed. I sacrificed so much. I sacrificed everything I have. And I've sacrificed everything that I have, literally everything that I have. And the way my life, the way that I could be living, I could have a nice cushy job and a house and a nice girlfriend, but I sacrificed all those things. I was dating a cute girl that I look back and I'm like, man, she was like probably perfect. But I knew that if I dated her, I would not be pursuing my dreams, because she wasn't really supportive of that, and she was just kind of like, well, what are you doing? You need to do this and this. So yeah, like, I had to sacrifice that, and sacrificing like a girlfriend or a boyfriend that's kind of holding you back. That's freaking hard, man. It hurts. So you have to learn to just be okay with sacrificing people. I think that's the hardest part. But understanding, like, because when I almost died in Costa Rica from a staph infection, I learned, like, damn, life is so short. I got to sacrifice all this shit that isn't serving me, all these people that aren't serving me, and unless they are super supportive of me, then they got to go. And that's the hardest part. And I think that when you get to that point where you're like, I'm doing me, and I'm learning to be selfish. Sorry, as long as you're not hurting anyone, and you're being selfish in your own right, and you're just doing whatever feels right for you, and you're like, sorry, I don't have time for you. Sorry, I don't have time for small talk. Sorry, like, I got shit to do and I don't want to talk about football. Sorry, like, you're talking about how bad your job is or whatever, but I don't have time for listening to this. And in the past, I would always do it. I would be like listening to people's stories about nonsense, and I'm like their therapist and shit. And now I'm like, I don't have time for this. And I brought this up in another video where this girl was like trying to, I'm impulsive sometimes, and I call this guy fat because he was messing with my dog with an umbrella, and I was just spur of the moment. I was talking with another guy about how dogs get overweight, their hind legs go out, and it was like right in the moment this guy showed up and he started yelling at my dog after he was messing with my dog with an umbrella. And I just said, yeah, maybe, I said, maybe you need to lose some weight and then we should talk. You know, I was just impulsive. I shouldn't have said that, but whatever. I was, you know, maybe I motivate him. I could have motivated him in a better way, but he pissed me off. And it was like, in the past, I probably would have wanted to strangle him. So I look at it as like, I walked away after that, and I felt bad about it. But then I was like, you know what? I don't need to start like keep feeling bad about this shit for these people. Like, if this guy was like higher, like on vibrating at a higher frequency, and he was living life in his flame and his dreams, he would have been like, hey, sorry, I didn't know that bothered you or whatever. But he didn't give a shit. And then this girl that I met, she was like, do you want to reflect on what you could have done better? And I'm like, I don't have time for that shit. I already know what I could have done better. I don't need to sit here and reflect with you. And so in the past, it would have been like, okay, and like listen to her and whatever. And then now I'm like, no, I don't need to, like, especially when her life was in the gutter. Her like, the baby daddy lives in Zanzibar, and she's dating some guy she says is a loser. So I'm like, why are you trying to give me advice when your life isn't going well, you know? And the best people with their lives are shit. Usually are trying to give you the advice, but I sacrifice. I'm like, no, I don't have time for this shit. So I don't feel bad, and I'm just doing me, you know. And maybe I shouldn't call it fat, but whatever. I just learn, and next time I try better not to. And I just don't have time to sit here and be like, oh, okay, and listen to people talk about nonsense and all this shit. It's like, as long as you know you did what you learned from your mistake, move on and stop worrying about it. You don't need other people to tell you what to do and tell you, oh, you should have done this right, and listen to the weather's good today, the weather's gonna rain, and all this shit. Small talk, fuck, I hate fucking small talk. I can't sit there and do it. It eats my soul. So if someone starts small talking with you, just say, hey, I gotta go. I don't have time for this. And when you get in that level of like you're doing shit, that's when you start seeing success, because you're like, I don't have time to freaking do that. I could be running, I could be freaking working out, I could be making videos, I could be doing shit, I could be reading. I don't, just because you don't have anything better to do, and you know those people who try to talk to you when they have literally nothing better to do, and they're just freaking sucking your soul, and you're like trying to get away, and they're just keeps talking to you about nonsense. And it's like, unless you're like a motivational speaker, unless you do YouTube videos, or unless you're successful in something that I'm interested in, I don't want to talk to you. You know, I don't. I really don't. And unless, if someone asked me at the gym, like, hey, how do you get in shape? How do you get, like, what do you do? What is your workout? What is your diet? I have people ask me that all the time. I'll give them, advice, because I think that is something that for me, I think I would have loved that when I was working out, and I know a lot about it. So for me, it's like, I'll give that person advice, but they're seeking something that is going to serve them better. Not talking about nonsense, not talking about the freaking weather. They're actually trying to better themselves, and that, I think, is like, that is something that takes courage. And so, of course, I'll sit with them for 10 minutes or whatever, but I'm not going to sit there and sometimes they're like, oh, can I work out with you? And I'm like, no, we're not going that far. Because you're trying to work out with me, and then you're gonna be holding me back, and then I have to talk to you during sets. So I'm like, no, sorry. And in the past, I let people like work out with me, and I'm like, god damn, it's freaking slowing me down. It's like you trying to run, and some guy and I run like 10 miles a day, and some guy that never runs, and he's like, he's like, slow down, I can't run. And you're like, no, I have to slow down for you? No, you need to keep up with me. If you want to run with me, you got to keep up with me. So, like, if Goggins was working out and he want to work out with me, I'd be like, okay. Because I would be like, I want to keep up with you. And I'd probably slow him down. He'd probably look at me like, nah. But I bet you I could probably keep up with him for the most part. If I could run 10 miles a day and then I work out for 2 hours after, I think I could probably keep up with him for a little bit. He still would probably be like, you're slowing me down. But that would be the only way that it would work. If someone's trying to slow you down, cut that person out. But don't feel sorry for if you're. I used to think that that was mean. Oh, someone's, they want to work out with me. I said no. That's mean. No, you don't do all this shit for everyone. Stop doing all this stuff for people who never do anything for you. They're just trying to suck something out of you, trying to get something, some energy out of you. I'd have people when I work out at the beach and minding my own business, and then they sit there and I'm in the middle of a